What if I told you that there's a possibility that the Statue of Liberty is actually a statue dedicated to Lucifer? The left is a painting made in the 17th century, known as Satan summoning his legion. Now, the devil's original name in the Bible was known as Lucifer, or in Hebrew, Hellel, which means the light bearer or the bringer of light. Now, the Statue of Liberty is holding a torch. It's bearing the light. Now, the Statue of Liberty looks awfully similar to the Colossus of Rhodes. Now, the Colossus of Rhodes was one of the ancient wonders of the world. It was a bronze Greek statue. It was about 108 feet tall. And just like the Statue of Liberty, the Colossus of Rhodes has a crown of light. It's holding a torch. This statue was dedicated to the Greek god Helios, the god of the sun, the god of the light. In fact, many Luciferians refer to the devil as the great light. And this painting of Satan summoning his legion looks awfully similar to the face of the Statue of Liberty. I mean, take a look. Looks pretty similar to me. But it's just a theory. Who knows?
He killed his girlfriend and her mother. He is wanted by police.
Thursday night, police were called to the 800 block of Gough Street in Norfolk for reports of a shooting. And when they got there, they found 52-year-old Alicia Hereford and 23-year-old Morgan Bazemore suffering from a gunshot wounds. They died at the scene. Witnesses say they heard 15 shots go off that night, and a tow truck took a car from the scene. Jones is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. He's described as 6 feet tall, 220 pounds. Police are offering a $2,500 reward for any information that leads to his arrest. Now, coming up on Wavy.
This scary secret about the United States dollar bills will blow your mind. Everybody definitely saw and knows every single detail about the United States dollar bills. But did you know if you fold these dollar bills correctly, it will actually foreshadow 9/11? If you fold the $5 bill correctly, it shows 2 perfect twin towers. Then when you fold the $10 bill, it shows the first twin tower getting hit by a plane. Then, if you fold the $20 bill, it shows the twin towers going down with black smoke on top. Then, if you fold the $50 bill, the twin towers are completely down. And finally, if you fold the $100 bill, the twin towers are in complete ruin with black smoke going up.
Advice that my grandma gave me, part 3. This one's not about dreams, but it's about mirrors. First off, she always told me you're never supposed to sleep with a mirror facing you, ever. I just don't listen. But nah, basically, a mirror is basically like a portal to the paranormal world. And y'all know that 3 in the morning is when everything, every spirit, whatever demons are their strongest. So yeah, you're never supposed to sleep with a mirror facing you. She also told me that when it's raining, you're supposed to cover your mirrors, especially if the mirror is like by a window or something, because it can definitely attract lightning. So if there's like a thunderstorm or something like that, she always used to cover her mirrors. It rarely happens, but it's very much possible. She just didn't want to be the one person that it happened to.
The Emily's painting theory just got spicier. Remember how Emily's story is very similar to Adele's story? Well, there's another painting of Adele, and she's depicted in a garden of white and pink flowers. Ferdinand loved the first painting so much that he decided to ask Klimt, the artist, to paint another one. Supposedly, the flowers are meant to represent her, beautiful in bloom, but quick to wilt. Here it says Adele had always suffered from ill health, sometimes having to rest due to throbbing headaches. Does that sound like the dizzy spells that Emily was getting? After she passed away, Ferdinand could not bear to part with the portraits of his wife. Instead, he filled Adele's room with Klimt's paintings and placed fresh flowers there every day. The fact that Emily is literally in a garden throne and the husband gives her flowers every day? But even spicier, the couple couldn't have kids. Do you think that's why they were using the miraculous in the first place?
Stories that sound fake but are 100% true. In August 2010, a small passenger plane in the Democratic Republic of Congo was getting ready to take off. But just about 2 hours into their flight, tragedy struck. People living in a nearby town saw the plane plummet to the ground in a nosedive. There were 18 people aboard and only 1 survived the crash. Authorities couldn't determine what caused the plane to crash. The fuel tank was full and there wasn't anything wrong with the engine. But just 2 days after the crash took place, the lone survivor of the crash woke up from their coma and explained what happened. The man explained that towards the end of their flight, a flight attendant was checking in with the passengers when she suddenly freaked out and ran to the cockpit. The passengers on the plane began to look around to see what was wrong, and they immediately figured it out. Walking towards them from the back of the plane down the aisle was a live crocodile. Panicking, all of the passengers ran towards the front of the plane away from the animal. This caused a sudden shift of weight inside of the small plane, which led to them crashing. Don't bring crocodiles on planes.
So back to shadow people. If you ever feel like you're being watched, it's most likely a shadow person. I guarantee that if you just randomly look up, you're gonna see something just kind of like fly across. One thing I did read that they're attracted to chaos and messy rooms. I remember growing up, my mom always told me to keep a clean home, keep a clean room, because it attracts negative energies. She's right. You keep a messy house, you keep a messy room, you're gonna attract negativity because they thrive off of that. A lot of times they are pretty harmless. There isn't a day that goes by where I don't see one, and it's almost like I see them, they're like, "Ooh, I've been caught," and they run, and then that's the end of it. Some people believe that it could be like a residual haunting, but I don't believe with that, because normally you can't interact with residual haunting, and when you tell these things to leave you alone, for the most part they listen. My next two stories that I'm going to share were submitted by you guys, and I'm super excited because both of them have to do with shadow people. I'll be posting both of them tonight. One of them is long.
This city in Florida only accepts sex offenders. The residents at Miracle Village decided to create their own city out in the middle of nowhere. That's because under Florida state laws, none of them can live within 1,000 feet of a school, park, or playground. So it makes it pretty much impossible for them to find a place to live. And it's the largest community of registered sex offenders in the US with over 200 residents.
We want to help you move on. We are so sorry what happened to you. Even though we really don't know, but I feel like it's not good because she's here and I feel like she's with a child.
Are you lost?
Yes. Are you lost here? Do you need our help?
Die.
Die.
Dog started barking after it said that.
Is there something evil here with us?
Who's following us?
You need to let that woman go and let her be in peace. You do not own her. Nothing.
Yeah, silence. That's
Tell
crazy.
me, talk to... What do you have to say to me? You do not own her.
Yes.
No, you...
Okay, so you guys are always asking for ghost stories. Are you ready for this one? I just read about this one today, so get ready for the goosebumps. So this mother believes that the spirit of her 2-year-old daughter who passed away in 2018 was seen at the cemetery where she was buried. Her mother Sandra has had problems with people stealing things from her daughter's grave. Toys and personal items, so Sandra asked the cemetery to be on the lookout. Another family has a camera on a headstone nearby. The family reviewed their footage and what they saw concerned them. The family took the images of the little girl to the cemetery in the middle of the night. To the cemetery owners, concerned the little girl was lost in the cemetery. Right away, a worker said, "We know that little girl," and walked the family to her grave. These are the images that were captured at the grave. The next day, the family returned to the cemetery, and Sandra, the mom of the daughter who passed, happened to be at her daughter's grave. Sandra said she burst into tears when they showed her the photo because she said, "I know that's my daughter."
What happened to Jeffrey Dahmer when he went to prison? Let's talk about it. Serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer finally admitted to slaying and eating around 17 young men, which eventually led to his arrest in July of 1991. So in 92, Dahmer arrived at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin, but was held away from other inmates because they were afraid that inmates may try to attack Dahmer and make a name for themselves because they already knew about his famous case. But during his first year in prison, he didn't cause any problems, so upon request of Dahmer, he was actually moved out of the isolation unit into a unit with people or inmates with emotional problems. But once Dahmer was moved, although the guards didn't notice, he would indulge in many morbid jokes, and he even put up a sign one day that said a meeting for Cannibals Anonymous. But one day Dahmer arranged his food to make it look like a severed limb and used ketchup to make it look like blood, and his inmate didn't like that very much. So when Dahmer was cleaning the bathroom, his inmate beat him severely to death, and he was found in a pool of blood by the toilet in the institution.